What's going on, guys? Kellen here. We're here at Axpona 2024, just outside of Chicago, hanging out with my friend Jonathan from Michell Audio. One of the sexiest turntables that you will see at the show, bar none. We've got all the models laid out, all of their accessories, cartridges. I think they even have some other goodies over there as well, the Levis feet. But I'm going to bring Jonathan in. He's going to tell us all about kind of what we're looking at here today. And yeah, Jonathan, if you want to take it away, man.
Thank you. So this is our entry-level turntable. It's the TECNODEC. Now this is basically a stripped-down version of the GYRO SE that everybody knows with the weights going round and round. It shares a lot of the same design principles as the GYRO SE. It has a standalone motor, so the motor is a completely separate unit, doesn't touch the turntable in any way, only through the drive belt. This is made of a single piece of machined aluminium. The platter is the same again as the GYRODEC or the GYRO SE, minus the weights. So it's a big heavy piece of Delrin, exactly the same as the GYRO SE. We then use a miniaturized version of the same oil recirculating inverted bearing as we do on the gyro. This is an unsuspended turntable, unlike the others in the range, and then we use some sorbethane pucks in the feet to just give the turntable some compliance. So they're in there. It's a bespoke made puck for us. It's a six pod puck, and it isolates the turntable from any structural vibrations. So that's where we start. This comes with a tone arm. It comes with a unicover cover as well, and it's now starting to come with a cartridge fitted.
Okay.
From there you move on to the GYRO SE, which is then you're up to a suspended turntable, so the whole thing sits on springs. The springs are in extension, which is inherently more stable than having springs in compression, which is what a lot of other manufacturers do. You've got a separate freestanding motor housing, same as the TECNODEC, just a bigger version, heavier base. Same platter as we got on the TECNODEC, but we now added these weights. These weights around the periphery of the platter. It gives the platter more momentum when it's turning, so the speed stability is improved on this model. A bigger version of the oil recirculating bearing, which is on the TECNODEC. Then you have a big cast aluminium chassis, which has big stainless steel weights in it, which counterbalance the tone arm assembly over here. This is where you get into the level of proper isolation because it's suspended, and then we take that to the next level when you move over to the ORBE turntable.
And what cartridge is on this model
so
here?
So this one, you can buy it with any of our cartridges. It comes without a cartridge. It comes with a T8 tone arm. Currently, you can just add your own cartridge, or maybe your dealer will want to add a cartridge or something like that. So.
Which one is on this?
But on there at the moment is the Q6S cartridge. It's our middle of the range. We've got 4 in the range, and that's the middle of the road.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on the cartridges as we get over to the accessory assemblies. But to keep it moving over to the ORBE, this is your flagship model, correct?
Yes, that's right. So from the ground up here, we have 2 levels of acrylic isolation. The 2 pieces of acrylic are separated by 3 hardened points. They're little spikes that we screw into the acrylic. So basically from here upwards, the turntable is sitting on 3 points. You then have the same chassis as the gyro, although we put a dampening compound on the underside. You can't see it from here, but it just deadens the whole chassis itself. Same suspension system, same springs as we use on the gyro. But the main difference with the turntable itself is the platter. So we've gone for a much thicker, 60mm thick Delrin platter. It's a lot heavier than the gyro. It's a lot more dense. What that does for performance is it actually controls the bottom end of the music better. Because the bottom end is under more control, then the mid-range opens up and you get a bigger sound stage. So you get an improvement across the whole range just by controlling that bottom end better. Then another big difference is the motor and power supply. It's in a much heavier housing, and the motor is a lot more sophisticated. It's a servo type motor. All the time it's turning, it's talking back to the power supply what revolutions it's doing. If that changes, the controller will speed the motor up or slow it down, so the speed stability is even better on this one.
Got it. Now, and this is just me learning here as well, but the power supply unit, is that something that's upgradable to the GYRODEC, that you could have that motor system, or is that just for the ORBE?
So the ORBE is pretty much, there's not many upgrades because we've sort of loaded it full. So what we supply is the HR power supply there. It just looks like a plain black box, but what that actually is a stripped down version of the power supply we developed for the ORBE.
Okay.
So it hasn't got the motor control because these two other models don't have the motor control on the motor. But it's still got the large toroidal transformer and a mains conditioning that's built into the ORBE power supply. So the good thing with our upgrades is if you was to buy yourself a TECNODEC and then you decide to upgrade to the HR power supply, and then at a later date you think, oh, you know what, I want to get the GYRO, you can buy the GYRO, and the upgrades that you've already invested in for the TECNODEC, you can then put them on the GYRO.
Got it.
So you don't waste any of your money.
And before we get to the cartridges, I see the Levis feet, and those are going to be replacing the feet that are already on the unit. Is that only for the ORBE and the GYRO SE, or can those technically go on the TECNODEC as well, or is that something that you would just really only do on the middle and flagship models? Yeah,
so the only model that they won't go on is the TECNODEC.
That's
what the TECNODEC is too light to compress the magnets that are in those feet. So, but we do 2 weight limits depending on which models you have. And the way they work is you've got 2 magnets in magnetic repulsion. Once you put the weight of the turntable on, the only thing touching, so basically contact between the bottom part of the foot and the upper part of the foot, is 3 tiny nylon pinpoints. So you're isolating the turntable for any structural feedback. Right. If you've got subwoofers in the room, if you've got traffic outside, that sort of thing, then you can cut that interference that can come up through the structure of the turntable and everything else. You're just cutting that short, so you're isolating it from all that sort of rubbish.
Yeah. Alrighty, and then lastly, talk us through the different models of cartridges that you have.
So there's 4 models. The entry 2 are essentially the same cartridge. So the QSYS E is our entry level cartridge, which is a low output moving coil. We now do a QSYS E high output for people that have got a moving magnet stage in their amplifier, so they can use that without having to have a step-up transformer. Mm-hmm. You then move up to the QSYS S, which is the middle of the road. So it's a Shibata stylus, it's a boron cantilever, so you're moving up the materials range basically, and you get a much better frequency response because of those elements. And then the top of the range is the QSYS M. So you have an ultra precise microline stylus tip, diamond, boron cantilever, and we've experimented with different coil masses. So the output from the M is quite low, but it's done because having a lighter coil mass gives you a lot more detail, better bottom end, and just opens up the whole sound stage.
Gotcha. Anything in particular that helped make it lighter? Is there any components there that helped?
So
with that in the internal of that cartridge?
Yeah, so by having a lower output, so basically putting less copper coils onto the stylus assembly makes it lighter, it makes it more nimble, so it can read the grooves in the disc better. So yeah, that's why we played around with having a lower output, and it was finding that balance between having it too low, right, but just getting that sweet spot.
Awesome. Well, I know I personally I have a GYRO SE in black at home, and I mean, even when I'm just streaming sometimes, I'll just turn on the motor to watch it spin. No, it's a beautiful piece, and I know it's everyone that I've talked to at the show that asks about Michell is, man, have you seen that spinning work of art? And it's truly a work of art, yes, but it sounds even more beautiful. So I really I'm excited to bring this type of caliber turntable into our Dreamedia family because I'm, for one, passionate about it myself. So it's extremely exciting. I know you have some other great components with Fidelity Imports as well, the Sonote separates that's powering the room as well. Also the Corinium acoustic energy speakers that are making their debut as well. But I know we wanted to really highlight Michell Audio. I know seeing you at the shows. It's been fun hanging out as well. So guys, if you are interested in Michell Audio, you have questions, if you're building a 2-channel system, feel free to reach out. We would love the opportunity to help you guys. And Jonathan, always a pleasure hanging out with you at the show as well. So really appreciate you hopping on, walking through the different turntables that you guys are offering to our customers as well. We're excited to have you all as part of our catalog. So it's going to wrap it up for today's video, but I really appreciate it's getting late here at Axpona, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.